Jackson Pierce opened his eyes slowly. His head hurt. Smoke filled the air, and the ship's warning lights blinked red. Sparks danced on broken wires. The crash had been hard. He pulled himself up from the floor of the wrecked escape pod. His hands shook, but he was alive. His heart beat fast, but he was breathing. "Blinky," he said weakly. "Are you there?" A small round drone, scorched but still working, floated up from the corner. Its camera blinked. "Systems." 43% operational, Blinky said in a soft, robotic voice. "Welcome to ... unknown planet." Jackson looked out of the broken hatch. A dense jungle spread beyond the smoke. Purple trees. Blue grass. Giant birds flying overhead. This was not Earth. Not even close. Jackson limped out of the pod, holding his side. Ribs bruised, maybe cracked. He found a small flat spot near the ship and sat down. "First things first," he muttered. "Survive." Evening, Jackson had set up a basic camp. He used parts from the pod and materials from the jungle. He made a fire with Blinky's help, filtered water, and ate survival rations. He also activated a distress beacon. It blinked blue every few seconds, but there was no reply. He looked at the stars above. So many. So far from home, just as he was about to rest, Blinky beeped loudly. "Warning," it said. "Motion detected." Multiple large life forms moving fast. Jackson stood up quickly and grabbed a metal rod as a weapon. From the trees, 5 tall figures appeared. They were women, but not like any human women Jackson had ever seen. They were strong, tall, and wore armor made of bone and crystal. Their skin was different, shades, green, silver, bronze. Each had long, sharp weapons and proud faces. One of them pointed at Jackson and shouted something in an alien language. The others laughed. Jackson didn't understand. But he didn't like the way they looked at him. The tallest woman stepped forward and touched his chest with her spear. "He is mine," she said in broken English. "I claim him." Another woman pushed her aside. "No, I saw him first. He is mine." They began shouting and waving weapons. Suddenly a fight started. Jackson backed away quickly. The alien women fought hard. Kicks, punches, weapons clashing. Dust flew. They moved like warriors, fast and powerful. In just a few minutes, only 2 were left. The tall woman who had first spoken, and another with dark red armor. They circled each other like wild cats. Then the tall one leaped forward, spinning. With her spear, she knocked the other woman down and held her blade to her neck. The red-armored woman growled, but did not move. The winner stepped back and raised her arms. "I win," she shouted. "He is mine." Jackson stared, shocked. The others slowly walked away, defeated. Only the tall woman stayed. She looked at Jackson and smiled. "I am Kylara," she said. "You are now mine." Jackson frowned. "Wait, what? Not an object? You don't own me." Kylara tilted her head, confused. "You do not wish to be chosen?" "I'm not a thing to be chosen," he snapped. She blinked. "This is strange. On Velquar, women fight to win a mate. You are the first male seen in many years." Jackson stepped back. "I'm a person, not a prize." Kylara looked at him quietly. Then she lowered her spear and spoke gently. "You are not hurt?" she asked. "You breathe, you walk, that is good." Jackson hesitated. Her voice was softer now. "I'm okay," he said slowly. "Bruised, but fine." She nodded. "Come. My tribe will give you food, safety, medicine." Jackson didn't move. "You don't have to keep me," he said. "I can survive here." Kylara crossed her arms. "Many wild beasts live here. Big claws, poison teeth. You will die by nightfall." She turned and walked toward the jungle, then stopped. "If you come, you are not slave," she added. "You are ... guest." Jackson looked at the campfire, at the broken ship, at the dark forest beyond. Then he sighed. "Fine, I'll go. But only as a guest." Kylara smiled again. Good. You are strong to speak with fire. I like this. She whistled, and a large four-legged animal stepped from the trees. Like a horse mixed with a lizard, she offered a hand to Jackson. He climbed on behind her. Blinky floated close behind. As they rode into the glowing jungle, Jackson whispered to himself, "This is the weirdest day of my life," Blinky beeped. Correction? This is day 1. The ride through the jungle was silent. Jackson held tightly to Kylara as her beast galloped through thick vines and glowing plants. Strange animals watched from the trees, their eyes bright and curious. Kylara did not speak much. She rode. With confidence, her back straight and her long hair flying behind her, Blinky floated close, scanning everything. Life signs stable. Terrain rich in energy crystals, the little drone said. Jackson stayed alert. He didn't trust this place. He didn't trust Kylara either, not yet. After an hour, they reached a large open area. Dozens of tall tents stood in rows. Fires burned in the middle. Alien women trained with weapons, wrestled, or sharpened blades. When they saw Kylara, they stopped and stared, and then they saw Jackson. Many whispered. Some looked surprised. Others looked jealous. Kylara raised her spear and shouted, "I return with my claim." The crowd murmured louder. Jackson whispered, "I don't like this." Kylara dismounted and helped him down gently. "You are safe here," she said. "No one will take you." "I won. I'm not a trophy," he said again. Kylara looked puzzled but didn't argue. She led him to a tall tent made of dark leather and glowing ropes. "This is mine," she said. "You rest here." Inside, the tent was warm and clean. A soft bed made of animal fur sat in the corner. A small table held food, purple fruits, roasted meat, and a sweet-smelling drink. Jackson sat down carefully. His side still hurt Kylara. Placed a small glowing stone on his chest. "This will help pain," she said. "Healing crystal." It gave off a warm light. Jackson felt the ache ease slowly. "Thanks," he said. Surprised, Kylara sat across from him. "You speak fire? But you are calm now." He raised an eyebrow. "Speak fire? Yes, you argue. You stand tall. You do not bow. It is rare." Jackson chuckled. "On Earth, we don't bow to people who say they own us." Kylara tilted her head. "Strange world here. Women fight, men are few, so we take what is rare." Jackson looked around. "What do the men do here?" She shrugged. "Not much. They sing, cook, rest, raise children. Some are happy. And if they're not," Kylara looked down, "then they are ... quiet." Jackson frowned. "That's not freedom." She said nothing. Later, Jackson explored the village with Blinky. The other warrior women watched him with curious eyes. Some smiled, some whispered. He walked past the training field and saw 2 girls fighting with wooden sticks. One knocked the other down and laughed. "Strength is honor," she shouted. Jackson sighed. He returned to Kylara's tent and opened a panel on Blinky. He began fixing the drone's broken sensors. Kylara entered and sat beside him. "Watched him work? You fix machines?" she asked. "I'm an engineer," he said. "I fix things. Build things. On Earth, that's normal." Kylara nodded. "Here, only warriors are respected. Builders are low." "Well," he said, holding up a tool, "on my world, strength isn't always muscle." Blinky beeped. "Confirmed?" Kylara smiled. "Slightly. Your world sounds ... different. Better," he asked. She didn't answer. That night, Jackson sat outside the tent, looking up at the sky. Stars filled the darkness. He missed Earth. He missed music, laughter, and human voices. Kylara joined him. She handed him a bowl of warm stew. "From root plant, good for healing." Jackson accepted it. "Thanks." They sat quietly. Then Kylara spoke. "I was born small, weak." Other girls laughed. "I trained every day, fought every day. I became strong." He looked at her. "To survive? To be seen?" she said softly. Jackson understood. "I know that feeling," he said. "Back home, I was always the quiet one, not fast, not tough. But I studied, I learned. I made myself useful. Kylara turned toward him. You are useful. You fix. You heal. You think fast. But here, I'm still a prisoner. She looked hurt. You are not chained. No, he said. But I can't leave. That's a cage too. She nodded slowly. Then I will show you freedom. Tomorrow. Jackson raised an eyebrow. How? We'll walk the village. Speak, build, choose what you do. And if I want to leave? She looked down. When you fix your ship, you may go. I will not stop you. Jackson saw truth in her eyes. He whispered, thank you. Kylara smiled. You are different, maybe. Change will come with you. The sun rose over the village of Velquar. Soft golden light touched the tents and trees. Jackson woke up inside Kylara's tent, feeling better than before. The healing crystal had worked. His bruises hurt less now. Blinky floated nearby. Good morning, Jackson. No threats detected. All systems stable. Jackson smiled. Thanks, Blinky. Let's see what freedom looks like today. He stepped outside and saw Kylara waiting for him. She wore simple training clothes. Not her. Armor? She looked different, more relaxed. Come, she said. I promise freedom. Today, I show you the forest. Jackson raised an eyebrow. A walk in the jungle? Sounds dangerous. Kylara grinned. Danger teaches respect. We'll see. They rode into the trees on her lizard beast. The jungle was alive with sounds, chirping, buzzing, roaring far away. Strange fruits hung from vines. Flowers glowed softly in the shadows. Kylara stopped near a wide stream. Water rushed over smooth rocks. We hunt here, she said. Today, we rest. Jackson sat on a rock. He pulled out a small device and scanned the plants. This place is full of power, he said. These plants could be used for medicine, maybe even fuel. Kylara sat beside him. You see things we don't. He looked at her. See things I can't fight. She chuckled, and we balance each other. They sat in silence for a while. Birds flew above. A small, green, monkey-like creature watched them from a tree. Jackson took a deep breath. Back on Earth, no one would believe this. Kylara smiled. I would not believe Earth either. Sky towers, metal birds, soft men who fight with words. Hey, Jackson said, laughing. Some of us know how to throw a punch. She leaned closer. Show me. Jackson raised his hands. No thanks. I like my ribs the way they are. They both laughed. For the first time, Jackson didn't feel like a prisoner. He felt ... Free suddenly, Blinky beeped loudly. Warning, large predator approaching. Fast. Kylara jumped to her feet, pulling a blade from her boot. Jackson stood. Behind her, from the trees, a giant beast appeared. It had 6 legs, red eyes, and sharp tusks. Its mouth dripped with black saliva. Kylara shouted, Stay behind me! The beast charged. She rolled to the side and sliced at its leg. It roared and turned to attack again. Jackson looked around and saw a pile of vines and sharp rocks nearby. He shouted, Kylara. Lead it this way. She didn't question him. She ran toward the vines. The beast followed. Jackson grabbed a glowing fruit and threw it. It exploded with a flash of light. The beast stopped for a second, confused. Kylara jumped onto a tree, then landed on the beast's back. She stabbed it between the shoulders. The beast roared in pain and ran straight into the vine trap. It slipped, fell, and landed hard. The sharp rocks pierced its belly. It stopped moving. Kylara jumped off, breathing hard. You ... planned that. Jackson nodded. Just use what I saw. You fought. I tricked it. Kylara smiled. Perfect balance. She sat beside him. On the grass. You are brave. Jackson looked down. I was scared. Bravery is not no fear, she said. It is fear and action. He looked into her eyes. You could have killed it alone. She shook her head. Maybe, but not. Without pain, he touched her arm. Then I'm glad I helped. They stayed close. The jungle was quiet again. On the way back, Kylara didn't ride ahead. She walked beside him. Sometimes their hands touched. When they reached the village, a few warriors clapped for them. News of the beasts had spread fast, but not everyone was happy. From the shadows, Vora watched them. Her eyes were cold. She spoke to another warrior. She fights beside him, not above him. Weakness? The other woman said nothing. Vora whispered, "She will regret this." That night, Kylara and Jackson sat near the fire outside her tent. The stars were bright above. Kylara said, "When I was young, I believed only in fighting. I thought love was soft, weak." Jackson looked at her. "And now?" She paused. "Now I think maybe love is another kind of strength." He smiled. "Where I come from, love isn't about winning. It's about choosing." She looked at him seriously. "Then I choose ... to learn." Jackson reached out and gently took her hand. She didn't pull away. They sat together, warm in the firelight, quiet but full of feeling. Far behind them in the dark, Vora watched with angry eyes. The village was quiet, but tension filled the air. Jackson woke up early. Birds chirped in the distance, but something felt wrong. He stepped outside Kylara's tent and saw a group of warrior women gathered in a circle near the training ground. They were whispering. Watching, Kylara stood in the center, her armor back on. Her face was serious. Vora stood across from her, dressed in dark red battle gear. Her eyes were sharp like a blade. "What's going on?" Jackson asked, walking up to them. Kylara looked at him. "Vora has challenged me. She wants to fight." "For what?" Jackson asked, though he already knew the answer. Vora stepped forward. "You. I will defeat her, and you will be mine." Jackson raised his hands. "I'm not a prize. I've said this before." Vora ignored him. "This is Velquar's way. You are rare. You're claimed only by the strongest." Kylara turned to Jackson. Her voice was calm. "This is not to claim you. This is to end the fight, to stop old rules." He looked into her eyes. "You don't have to do this." She smiled. "I do, but not to own you, to free you." The duel was announced. By mid-morning, the whole village had gathered. Around the fighting ground, a flat area of hard earth was cleared. Warriors stood in a wide circle, some excited, others worried. 2 weapons were placed in the center, a long spear and a curved blade. The duel would be with choice of weapon. Fight until one yields or cannot continue. Jackson stood outside the circle with Blinky, watching closely. "This feels wrong," he whispered. Blinky beeped. Odds of Kylara winning, 67%. However, Vora is unpredictable. A drum sounded. Duel began. Kylara stepped forward and picked the spear. Vora grabbed the curved blade. They circled each other. Dust rose around their feet. Vora struck first, fast and sharp. Kylara blocked with the spear shaft and pushed back. They traded blows, steel against steel. Sparks flew. Kylara moved with grace. Vora moved like fire. But soon, Vora changed tactics. She kicked sand in Kylara's eyes and slashed her. "Armed!" Jackson shouted. "That's cheating!" No one responded. In Velquar, trickery was allowed. Kylara wiped her eyes and kept fighting. Blood ran down her arm. Jackson couldn't take it anymore. She's fighting for freedom, and Vora just wants power. Still, no one moved. Blinky floated up. "Jackson, suggestion. Use distraction." Jackson's mind raced. Then he got an idea. He grabbed a shiny metal piece from Blinky's repair kit. It was small but reflective. He held it in the sun, aiming the light at Vora's eyes. As Vora charged for a final blow, the light flashed into her face. She flinched, just for a second, but it was enough. Kylara dodged and swung her spear low, knocking Vora to the ground. She stood over her, breathing hard. The tip of her spear hovered at Vora's neck. The crowd held its breath. Vora stared up, defeated. "Do it," she hissed. "End me." Kylara stepped back. "No," Vora frowned. "Why not?" Kylara spoke loud so all could hear. "I do not fight to own, I fight to change," the crowd murmured. Some looked surprised, others nodded slowly. Kylara dropped her spear. This way is old. We need a new way. She turned to Jackson. He stepped forward, heart racing. You didn't win me, he said softly. You earned my respect. My heart. Kylara smiled. And you are free to leave. But I hope you stay. Jackson took her hand. Not going anywhere. Later, back at her tent, Kylara's wounds were treated by healers. Jackson sat beside her, holding her hand. You didn't have to risk your life, he said. Double quotes, yes I did, she replied. If I didn't, they would never change. He nodded. Maybe they will now. Kylara looked at him. You helped. Me win, Jackson chuckled. A little light in the eyes is fair, right? She laughed softly. You fight without blades. I like that. They sat in peaceful silence. Outside, the villagers talked about the fight, not just who won, but why it mattered. Some said Kylara was weak for sparing. Vora. Others said she was the strongest of all. One young warrior said, maybe we should let people choose. Not just fight. That evening, a small group of warriors came to Kylara's tent. We wish to learn your way, one said. The way of choice. Kylara looked at Jackson. Then she stood and faced them. Then let us begin a new path, she said. Together, Jackson smiled. For the first time, he felt something more than safety. He felt home. Days passed after the duel. Kylara's wounds healed slowly, but her heart felt lighter. The village was changing. Some warrior women still followed the old ways, but others had begun to listen to talk, not fight. Jackson worked during the day using parts from his broken pod. He had almost finished repairing the emergency beacon. The small blue light blinked faster now. That meant it was nearly ready to send a full signal. Blinky, how long till we're done? Jackson asked, tightening a wire. Signal strength at 87%, the drone answered. Estimated time to full function, 2 days. Jackson wiped sweat from his forehead. 2 days until a ship from Earth might find him. 2 days until he could leave. He looked up at the sky. For the first time since crashing on Velquar, he wasn't sure if he wanted to go. That evening, Jackson sat by the fire with Kylara. She looked stronger now. Back in her simple training clothes, without armor, he showed her a small screen with pictures from Earth's tall buildings, oceans, children playing, people dancing. This is my world, he said. Busy, loud, full of people. Kylara watched with wide eyes. It is beautiful, ... but so strange. You'd love it, Jackson said softly. And I think it would love you. Kylara smiled. Would I have to fight for food there? No, Jackson laughed. We usually just order it. Looked at the stars. Do you wish to go back? Jackson paused. I don't know anymore. Kylara's voice turned quiet. Here you are still seen as rare, as special, but I want you to be more than that. Not a guest, not a prize, a partner. Jackson looked at her. What do you want for yourself? She took a deep breath. I want to lead my people in a better way. No more fighting for love. No more rules made of fear. He nodded. That's a big change. I will need help, she added. Jackson placed his hand on hers. Then you'll have it. Later that night, Vora came to the tent. Her steps were slow, not proud like before. Kylara stood up. Why are you here? Vora looked at Jackson, then back at her. To speak, not to fight. Kylara nodded. Then speak. Vora lowered her head slightly. I was raised to believe that strength is everything, that we must take what we want. You believed I was weak, Kylara said. I did, Vora replied. But you spared me, and you changed minds. That is a kind of power I never understood. Kyla said nothing. Vora looked at Jackson. You confuse me, human. You don't fight, yet you win. You don't take, yet you are loved. Jackson shrugged. I just try to do what feels right. Vora turned to leave. Maybe. One day I'll learn that too. After she left, Kylara said, That is the first time Vora has ever bowed. Her head, Jackson smiled. You're leading already. The next morning, Blinky beeped, beacon fully repaired, signal ready.
Jackson stood beside the small blinking machine.
The blue light was now steady. One push, he said, and someone from Earth might come. Kylara joined him. She stared at the beacon. This means your way home. Yes, Jackson replied. It means goodbye. She looked down. Will you press it? He stared at the button. His mind was full of memories crashing in the jungle, meeting Kylara, fighting the beast, building something new with her. I want to show you my world, he said. But I don't want to leave yours behind. Kylara touched his arm. Then we make a new world together. Jackson smiled. But if the ship comes, I may have to go. She nodded. I will not stop you, but I will miss you. He looked. At her heart heavy. What if you came with me? Kylara's eyes widened. Leave Velquar? Just for a while, Jackson said. See Earth, learn from it. Bring back new ideas. She stayed quiet. I won't force you, Jackson added. It has to be your choice. Kylara looked at the stars. Let me think. Later, the beacon sent its signal into the sky. It would reach deep space. A reply might come soon. Not. The village prepared for a gathering that night. Kylara had called it the Fire Talk, a new tradition where warriors would speak.
Not fight.
Jackson helped set up glowing lights. He fixed a sound system using parts from his pod and Blinky's speaker. When night fell, the fire burned bright. Warriors sat in circles. Some brought food. Others brought music. Kylara stood in the center. We were taught that strength means victory, that love must be won by blade. But now we see true strength is in choice, respect, and unity. Crowd was quiet at first, then a few clapped, and more. Jackson stood beside her. Back on Earth, we share ideas freely. We talk, we grow together. Maybe Velquar can do that too. One young warrior raised her hand. Can I choose not to fight? Kylara smiled. Yes. A cheer rose. Laughter followed. Music played. Something new had begun. Later that night, Jackson and Kylara sat under the stars again. He looked at her. So, ... What will you choose? Kylara turned toward him. I will go with you, not to leave forever but to learn and return stronger. Jackson's heart lifted. Then let's go together. She nodded. Together, looked. Up at the sky, somewhere a ship might be coming. But in that moment, nothing felt far away. They were no longer warrior and outsider. They were partners, builders of something new. The night sky was clear, and the stars above Velquar shone like scattered diamonds. The village was filled with energy as warriors and villagers gathered around the great fire. The air hummed with conversation, laughter, and music. Jackson and Kylara sat side by side, hands intertwined, watching the fire dance. The warmth of the flames didn't match the cold feeling in Jackson's chest. Tomorrow, everything would change. The rescue ship from Earth had answered his signal. A message had come through that morning, confirming it was on its way. It would land on Velquar by dawn, and Jackson would have to make a choice. Was he ready to go back to Earth, or had he found something worth staying for? Kylara seemed to sense his unease. She looked at him quietly, her expression soft but serious. Tomorrow, you will go, she said gently. But you do not have to leave me behind. If you choose, I will come with you. Jackson looked at her, his heart heavy. But what about Velquar, your people? The way of life here? Kylara smiled, a sad smile. I cannot leave everything behind, but I can bring change. I can learn, just like you. I can show them that there is more than just strength in battle. There is strength in love, in kindness, in choice. Jackson nodded slowly. I want to show you my world. I want to take you to Earth, but I'm not sure if I should leave everything here behind. I don't want to choose for you, Kylara. Looked into his eyes. You will not choose for me, Jackson. I choose for myself. But whatever happens, I will follow you if you stay. The morning light broke over the horizon. Jackson stood at the edge of the village, staring at the ship that had just landed. It was big, metal, and shining in the early sun. A team of humans in spacesuits stepped out, their faces covered by helmets. Jackson swallowed. His heart raced. This was it. Behind him, Kylara stood tall, looking at the ship. She had already said goodbye to her tribe. Many of the warriors had wished her well, while others stayed silent, unsure of what her choice meant. Jackson took a deep breath. He walked toward the ship, Kylara following quietly behind him. The humans in spacesuits looked at him with interest, but their eyes widened when they saw Kylara beside him. She stood proud, her warrior spirit still strong despite the peaceful path she had chosen. One of the humans, a woman with short brown hair, stepped forward. "Jackson Pierce," she said, "we're here to take you home." Jackson nodded, but his voice faltered. I'm not sure if I want to leave." The woman looked at him, puzzled. "What do you mean? You've been stranded here for weeks." "Your home is Earth." Kylara stepped forward. "I am Kylara of Velquar," she said in a strong, clear voice. "I have chosen to come with him." The human woman's eyes widened. "You, what?" "I choose my own path," Kylara said, her voice unwavering. "I will learn your ways. I will learn what it means to live in peace, not through battle." Jackson looked at Kylara, his heart swelling with admiration. He had never seen someone so brave, so willing to change, to grow. She wasn't just a warrior, she was a leader, a symbol of something bigger. The human woman looked back at Jackson. You sure? This will be a difficult transition?" "Sure," Jackson said, his voice firm. "I want to show her my world. I want her to experience Earth, just like I experienced Velquar." The human woman hesitated, then nodded. "All right then, let's get you on board." Yes. They walked toward the ship. The crew watched them closely. Jackson and Kylara boarded the spacecraft together. Inside, everything was clean, shiny, and unfamiliar. But to Kylara, everything was new. She looked around with wide eyes, taking in the strange technology. "This is the inside of a metal bird?" she asked softly. Jackson laughed. "It's just a spaceship, but yeah, kind of like a bird." Kylara touched the walls with her hands, feeling the cool surface. "It is strange, but I think I will like it." They took their seats as the crew prepared for takeoff. The ship's engines roared to life, and the ground beneath them shook gently. The sky outside grew darker as the ship lifted off, leaving Velquar behind. The journey was long, but Kylara was curious, asking questions about everything. She asked about Earth's cities, its oceans, its animals, and how people live together. Jackson did his best to explain, but words couldn't fully capture the experience. Days later, they arrived at Earth. The ship landed on a large, empty field near a small town. Jackson's heart raced again. This was it. Earth. Home. Kylara stepped out of the ship, her eyes wide with wonder. She took in the wide open sky, the tall trees, and the soft breeze. Everything was peaceful. Everything was different. Jackson watched her, waiting for her reaction. He wanted her to see Earth as a place of hope, of possibilities. Kylara turned to him, a smile tugging at her lips. This is beautiful." Jackson smiled back. "Welcome to Earth, Kylara. It's a place for new beginnings." As they walked hand in hand through the open field, Jackson realized something important. It wasn't about Earth or Velquar. It wasn't about planets, rules, or customs. It was about the choices they made together, and together they would make a new path, one of peace, love, and understanding. They would fight for a future where both strength and kindness could coexist, where love didn't need to be earned through battle. For the first time, Jackson felt truly at home.